Good morning to you, Mike.
Well, I mean, what a story this is, and how incredible that such a thing could happen in this day and age, I suppose. I mean, what I haven't seen much of is the kind of the conversation around security for Charlie Kirk, because obviously we've got security very much foremost in our minds because Donald Trump's coming on Wednesday, and obviously a lot of security for him for that. But I guess there wasn't such security for Charlie Kirk, was there?
Not really. I mean, there was some security from the university where he was speaking, and security has followed him in recent years. But, look, it was an open space. It's a college campus, and colleges
Yeah.
like to at least pretend that they are places that encourage free speech. So,
Yeah.
they don't like to have a heavy police presence, and so they didn't.
Right. There seems to as well be a bit of confusion over his political antecedents, doesn't there? Because at the time when he was, before he was apprehended, actually, there was some suggestion that there had been a lot of transgender messaging on the bullets and on other sort of shell cases and that kind of thing. It now seems like a slightly more mixed message, because there are some now saying that he was part of this kind of Groyper movement, which is more of a right-wing thing, that he's been pictured in that little squat. They call it a Slav squat, which apparently is also a bit of a right-wing trope. So it's not that clear. I guess the most clear bit is the fact that if he was living with somebody who's transitioning to be a woman, he might be driven by that in some way.
Yeah, this is a very confusing story, at least as of now, Mike. And you're quite right. There have been many different things that have come up in the past few days. Initially, it was thought that he was sort of a leftist, and then it turned out his parents are, MAGA people, Make America Great people. Then it was said that he was one, but he didn't vote for President Trump. It's been all over the map. And to be quite honest, I'm not quite sure anyone at the moment really knows what his motivation was or what his own political philosophy, if he has any, actually is. He has not been cooperating apparently with authorities. He's not actually even confessed to the murder. So at the moment, he is remaining apparently silent. The only thing that seems to be sure, if you want to say that anything about this story is sure, is that those casings that you talk about, it does seem as if there were these sort of anti-fascist, if you will, engravings on these casings. Whether or not that is proof of any sort of political ideology that he may or may not have, I don't know.
So it's interesting, isn't it? Because obviously in kind of the aftermath of all of these events, there's, people like to blame one side or the other, but in this case, it's kind of unknown, really.
Well, that's right. I mean, President Trump was very quick, and perhaps too quick, to say that this is the result of the rhetoric from the left.
Yeah.
But it isn't, as we've just discussed, it isn't at all clear that the assailant, the shooter, is somebody from the left. He may be, he may not be. But, look, at the end of the day, of course, nobody deserves what happened to Charlie Kirk. I had Kirk on my old radio show a few years ago, and I found him to be a very engaging and charismatic type person. I didn't always agree with things that he said, but one of the things that he was adamant about was that it was important for people who don't agree to debate.
Yes.
Not to debate through violent acts, but to debate through verbal acts.
Yes. And he also did cut through very much to the younger generation, people like you and I, whose days may be numbered and past, I mean, my son, in fact, my 18-year-old son, very much aware of him, knew exactly who he was and had seen loads of his stuff on YouTube and was a big fan, And there's an awful lot of that in different countries around the world that he had sort of garnered. And every single almost, debate that you can see him taking part in, he's absolutely insisting that, we're not about fighting, we're about debating. And people, I don't know if you've seen it, you probably have. There's one particular exchange that he's got with this older guy who's like threatening to have a fight with him, saying, "Why don't you fight me? That's what we do here in the Wild West." And he's like, "I don't want to fight you. I'm here to debate you. Why do you want to have punch up? So a lot of it was very non-violent as well.
Oh yeah, I mean his impact on Gen Zers
Yeah.
and I guess what do they call the newest ones, alphas or whatever
Oh,
they
God
call them.
knows. Hard to
Yeah,
keep up.
whatever, whatever letter they're up to, has actually been profound for the past few years.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you a very interesting, quick story. The California governor, Gavin Newsom,
Mm.
who of course is pretty much a leftist, and I think he would be proud to say that. He had Charlie Kirk as his very first guest
Yes.
on his own podcast. And one of the things that he told Kirk was that his child, Newsom's child, young kid, wanted to stay up and not go to school, stay up later, not go to school, I forgot which one, because he was a fan of Charlie Kirk, and
Mm.
that's Governor Newsom's kid.
Yeah.
So it shows you how this guy was able to cut across a lot of different, aspects of social life.
Right. And if this Tyler Robinson guy does turn out to be the suspect, he certainly is one of the suspects anyway. If it turns out that he's taken to trial, would the death penalty be sought for him, do you think, in Utah?
Very possibly. Certainly President Trump said that that's what his desire would be, but the president doesn't really have that call.
Mm.
And even if the death penalty were to be given in the United States, that is a very long process, and I suspect that many, many, many years would go by if he's convicted before such a penalty would ever be carried out.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, we'll get Trump over here for a few days so you can have a bit of a rest from him. So we'll see what we can do. Charles, thank you very much indeed. Charles